we're just not going to succeed. And we got to do it. I mean, and that means whether you're playing in whether you're involved in a primary, or whether you're focusing just on the general election. I mean, you gotta step up and play. Everyone does. Otherwise, we're not going to have a chance. And our Republican candidates, conservative candidates, limited government candidates will struggle. Let me ask one more question. How much money last cycle did the unions put into Colorado elections?
Way too much.
$3 million. That's pretty darn close. I think it's about 3.5 or so reported. There's probably another million or two in there that wasn't reported. And they went and did it through their small donor committees and their political committees and stuff like that. Last question. Right to work ballot initiative. Remember that? Big thing. How much money was spent for that? Anyone guess? Anyone guess?
5 million?
5 million, close, 6 to 7 million. How much money was spent against it? 27 million, close, 33 million. 33 million. And so here's my lesson now. Remember these numbers I was telling you? Republican, conservatives, they did okay last cycle. We lost one Senate, right, state Senate, just barely. We gained 2 House seats. I'll tell you, because I'm an election attorney and I pay attention to stuff and help manage some of the money now and then. Part of the reason we did that is because the unions were spending $33 million on right to work, and they weren't spending it on candidates. Guess where that money is going to come this time? It's going to come with candidates. So we got to be careful and we got to work hard. I know you got a lot of candidates. So those are my questions. Thanks. You guys are good. Thank you very much.
If you read Freakonomics, you may know that people spend as much money writing checks to candidates as they do on gum in America.
Can I ask questions on that? I'll give you the numbers.
I would like the numbers.
Numbers are, last election cycle, $8.4 billion for all candidates in America, city council to U.S. president. That's the same amount that was spent on potato chips nationwide.
Potato chips. The salted ones.
Potato chips here.
And I think that's important to bring up. We're preaching to the choir a little bit because we do write checks, but what I found out is that if you have $10 to give a candidate, they'll take it because they understand how heartfelt that is. And Robert Ramirez is up here saying, heck, I'll take 5. Okay, our next candidate is Dan Maes. Dan.
Good evening. How are we doing? That was my first question. How many more do I get? Many as I like. One at a time. What do you want from your next governor? Hands up. What do you want? Fiscal responsibility.
Somebody will enforce immigration.
Immigration. Responsibility.
Loosen the regulation on the oil and gas business so we can bring our
Jobs. Those two go together. Regulations and jobs.
How about somebody who will just promote business instead of defeat business?
Grow business instead of chasing it out of the state.
Exactly.
State employees that are not unionized.
Someone who will stand up for the state side of the 10th Amendment.
Matt.
Honor and integrity.
Honor and integrity.
You stole my line.
And of
Upholding the rule of law.
Upholding the rule of law. Okay. How many of you heard me on boils over the last week or two? What out of those conversations hit a nerve with you that was positive?
You answered the questions.
Straight answers?
Called Corey and talked.
Called Corey and talked to him, invested time in the situation. Anything else? Okay, stood my ground, yes, Wally.
I like your answer about the bus, that you will run from Colorado to the border.
As long as they give me the funding for it, we're gone.
Hey.
Border and DIA.
The Republicans could raise the money for a bus.
There we go. The bus in the back.
Statement that you would hold people accountable.
Hold people accountable. Yeah, very good. These are simple rules we operate with in the corporate and business world all the time. Why shouldn't government have to live by the same rules, right? Yes. Mike.
How about a clear standard stating
legislators stand on Tabor. Did I say that, or are you asking me a question? You don't get to ask questions. They gave me the rules. I know what they are. You can try it from my dead cold hand. Okay. What do you think about Tabor, Mike?
I think we should get rid of it and get something better.
Okay. You a Democrat?
Yes.
I thought so. What would you get?
I don't know yet.
Okay. What part of it doesn't work for you?
The long list of rules that Governor Ritter is breaking over and over. I think we need something clear and short and something that politicians are going to obey.
Okay.
The spirit of Tabor is right.
Okay.
It needs to be, the government needs to be accountable to people and spending.
Right.
It needs to be a flat rule, you always spend less.
Okay. So do you think that the legislators, he's talking about how Bill Ritter got around Tabor with all these things this year, and kind of is laying it on the legislators. But my question back to you, Mike, is do you think the legislators failed us, or did the Supreme Court fail us?
Yes.
Yes.
I know what
The question is who is responsible for it? The Democrats rammed faster legislation down our throats. So, and then the Supreme Court backed it up when they got there. So Democratic Supreme Court members, I don't want to take Matt's thunder. Matt's got to have his own story tonight. But hopefully, you know where I stand on Tabor. I don't think there's anything wrong with Tabor at all, unless you cheated and you go around it. Anyway. But you know what? I respect this young man being here, and what we have to do. What we need is civility in our government, and a Democrat needs to know that he can walk into an environment, he can ask a civil question, and he can get a civil response and get respect and courtesy, and that's something else I want to bring back to our state house. Okay. I'm really not used to this format. And everybody was bending my ear until about 5 seconds before I walked up here. So when I walked up, I'm thinking, what am I going to do when I get up there?
Wondering what kind of plans you might have of trying to alleviate the state budget of being 44% going to education.
Okay, I'll answer your question one-on-one, because again, that's kind of out of the format, and I don't want to set the wrong precedent for everybody. But I'm going to put that back on you, folks. Amendment 23, been there for 10 years. It guarantees inflation plus 1% to K through 12, and it's hogging money from other groups. But hey, I've got kids in public school, and I want good public schools too. So what you do with Amendment 23?
Vouchers!
How many of you would get rid of Amendment 23? How many of you would keep Amendment 23? How many? Be courageous. Come on, get them up there. I saw it. Don't worry about it. How many would like vouchers or tax credits? Okay. How many things we should stay out of it? Republican crowds, conservative crowds. You know, I'm going to leave it at that because you know, these other guys have a lot to do. I want to congratulate this group. I came to the first barbecue at the park, got pushing almost a year ago, maybe about 9 months ago, and how this has grown, and how the North group has grown, and Kim taking on that challenge. Congratulations, Kim. I've watched this group I have the distinct honor, I missed the Tea Party Sunday, the little thing down at the Capitol, okay, but someone was cheering for me, which is great. But on April 15th, Tax Day, I was formally endorsed by Hear Us Now, the people who originated that Tax Day Tea Party, and I may be the only candidate that has had the honor to speak to up to 10,000 people that day. Come and join me, we'll have a good party. I'm Dan Maes.